Welcome back to the GSTL. It is a dire position for OGS right now. They only have 2 players left, and the Wind has made a tough choice. He's made a pretty ballsy choice of putting out Supernova first. It's going to be better for him in the long run, but he has to defeat Lucky. A bit of a gamble here.
And Hero probably the ace player here, so it's going to be very, very intense now. We had the GSTL in the last matches of the final match between OGS and, of course, FXO. Lucky is preparing for his match. He faced one Terran player earlier in the team battle. We had him up against Finn. He took the game, and now we have Antigua Shipyard. Exactly the map you want to have if you are choosing Supernova. It's a map where the Zergs are a bit uncomfortable because of the 4th base, because of the huge distance that he can't really bridge with Broodlords, so you have to rely more on Ultralisks, and the middle end of the map always a topic that's discussed quite heavily between Terrans and Zergs. Now we have Supernova against Lucky at the GSTL. Held in. And starting to the right side of Antigua Shipyard in the red color. A player for oGs-TL, player number 4.
oGs-TL Supernova!
He definitely needs to win now. If he does not win, then Hero or whoever's going to be the last player for oGs-TL will be in such a tough spot against FXO. It's not going to be easy either way, but the pressure is now on Supernova as he's facing FXO Zerg player. Yep, to the left. Cross position.
FXO Lucky!
Very unlucky to be having to face a Terran on this map of all maps. But man, Lucky has been on fire so far today.
Oh yeah, he played really well, especially that comeback that he pulled off against Finn. This was quite beautiful, and now we have just a little bit of a cute play here by Supernova. He's just building the barracks outside of his main base to hide it for a few seconds. So that's Lucky will have to guess a bit if there's actually going on.
Notice Lucky scouts very early here. He wants to be very certain that his opponent is not doing some sort of double barracks play. Now you can check the orbital timing to be certain about what his opponent is doing, how many barracks he's made. You can also count SCVs. Both of these ways will allow him to know what his opponent is up to, and he will probably find his barracks, in fact, because this is just, you know, so simple.
It's
so
not an unusual spot.
Exactly. And with the barracks, if you put your Overlord in certain locations, it can be hunted down, so it's just a lot of reasons why people are putting that barracks out there. I could go into them all night, but I won't. We're just going to see a 1-Rax expand, no gas, and that has already been scouted by Lucky as well with his super fast drone scout. So that drone scout has been so important.
And this high ground in the middle of the map is one of the reasons why Zerg don't like this map, because it's really hard to face a Terran player that is able to play in the high ground, siege up with his tanks, defend with his marines. It's very, very hard to break, so you have to get into a beautiful position. You have to try to just attack your opponent from several points at the same time, several angles. And for Lucky, it's not going to be easy, so we'll see how he deals with this threat. It's not only the position that you can suddenly get the map control as a Terran player, but you also have the option of getting 2 expansions with planetary fortresses, so very difficult to break this, and at the same time you have to defend against your opponent's drop play as soon as you take a 4th base, so a bit tricky, and we'll see how Lucky is going to approach this problem.
You're exactly right. I mean, you actually, you know, whenever you talk about this map, I feel, I know you're a Zerg player, and I can just feel the frustrations coming from a Zerg player's perspective, because it's actually just true, everything that you're saying. It's there's certain aspects of Zerg versus Terran on this map that are difficult. Nobody wants to really make Ultralisks in this matchup. Nobody wants to do that, but it's just so hard to use Broodlords because, like you said, the middle of the map is very open-ended, and it's too difficult. You don't have support. If you don't have a lead, it's just almost impossible to go Broodlords on this map.
I talked with Lenok in length about it, and he just summed it up with saying with his Korean accent, he was like, Antigua Shipyard, Thrasher, Ultralisks, Thrasher. He wants to go Broodlords. It's the best units in his opinion for Zerg play. He wants to go Broodlords, but Antigua Shipyard, you are perfectly right, Wolf. Most of the time a Zerg player is forced to go for the Ultralisk play.
Or at least some Ultralisks, or delayed investors.
they're actually not too bad on Antigua, because you have you can just attack from well, as I said, from different angles. On most maps you have a lot of choke points, so attacking with Ultralisk is very difficult because they will start to block each other. You don't really have the area that you need in order to make sure that all of them are attacking. But with good fungals in the middle of the map, you can catch your opponent off guard and you can make good use of Ultralisks. It's a little bit the style that we've seen by Stefano very often in this matchup. And one of the reasons why he, for example, he doesn't like the map per se, but it kind of complements his style.
Look at this. This is a delayed cloak play coming out here. This is not going to be something that Lucky will expect.
Definitely not.
It's not necessarily going to be effective either, but it's going to be sneaky, it's going to be tricky, it's going to be something that Lucky is going to have to deal with that he didn't expect to see. And this does kind of get thrown into the bag sometimes of strategies that Terrans pull out. I love this pressure, man. He is just being so safe. He's never overstepping his bounds.
Let's just think about this for a second.
Uh-oh. Let's think about this for a second.
Wow.
He's actually going to see it.
Okay, this is horrible right now. I was just going into how this might well work. But this is, you're right, that's beautiful. And he actually catches the Hellion while Supernova tries to kill the Overlord. He realizes that he has to hide his cloak, but the Hellions get caught. Nice positioning here by Lucky. Wow.
Beautiful positioning, and also I feel like this was not coincidence. I feel that Lucky was like, as soon as he moved his Overlord was in, he was like, alright, he's going to focus on this Overlord for a second, then I'm going to catch his Hellions. He can't be two places at once, and he knew that was the moment to grab the Hellions, and Supernova kind of botched it there. Not only was his cloak spotted, but his Hellions were taken out. He is in a really tough spot here, and things are looking worse and worse for OGS by the second.
I really love how Lucky controlled his units, that as soon as he realized, okay, I can take down the Hellions, now he started splitting his Zerglings in order to attack them from two sides to completely trap them. But the one thing that I would still want to talk about a little bit is the decision by Supernova to go for this delayed cloak timing. It's actually not a bad decision if you think about it, because what we've seen by Zerg players on this map is that they try to take a third base as soon as they get rid of the Hellion pressure. At the same time, they often delay their tech, they delay gas and start to get a very late tech. We usually have the evolution chamber, but no Zerg player is really going, or most of them don't go for spore crawlers without a reason. Lucky now spotted that there is a tech lab at the starport, so he throws down the spore crawlers.
Yeah,
I really love this decision though. Yeah, we have 4 spore crawlers. He's safe against anything that could happen, and he can afford it. He rather invests a little bit, some minerals into the spore crawlers than losing the drones.
I love this. He's going to have to make something happen with these Banshees, so he's targeting down creep tumors, getting a lot of them here, and he may even scan again. And with these Banshees, if his opponent does not have Spire Tech, he can even hold watchtowers and harass drones. He can avoid the Spore Crawler's positioning, and he's already done the switch, so he's got Medivacs being reactored on the way here. He's going to cloak and try to go for some drones, and it looks like actually
there is one Spore Crawler, but it is out of position as he was anticipating the Banshees from the north. So they attack from a different angle, and that might cost him the pull here. But the Overseer is ready, and so are the Queens.
Uh-oh, he needs to move these Banshees. He's not going to get that pull. I think the idea here was to just force an Overseer, force 100 gas actually to be used, but he is going to lose a Banshee as a result. A bit sloppy. Because that makes, of course, the trade equal. You spend 100 gas on the Banshee when it makes an Overseer, and not the best trade there for you. Infestor tech is on the way, as well as Banelings, and the upgrades are spinning because this is Antigua after all. 4th macro hatch going up here, and things are just looking really good for Lucky right now. He almost looks unstoppable.
Oh, he's an amazing player. But on the other hand, Supernova is taking our third base, and the Banshees, they are not useless as we don't see Mutalisks, which is normal. As you already said, the Watchtower is controlled by Supernova due to the fact that he has the Banshee position, and he can also scout with them and take down potential third bases, or at least put some pressure onto them. The only thing that Lucky can do is he has to wait for the Infestors, and then he can start trying to go for a Fungal and for some Infested Tyrants. But at this point, the Banshees actually pose a problem. But look at this.
That is really interesting.
17 Banelings. He tries to go for a huge attack here.
He wants to set up a mega flank. He knows
started.
He knows that Supernova is going to have to hit a timing here because of the position he put himself into. He's going to have to take a third and attack at the same time, and he's going to be spread a little bit thin. And at this point, Lucky will try to catch this. He knows this timing attack is coming. He even checks now with his units, and he's like, oh, but he gets spotted by this medevac. And he is desperately trying to get back. A bunker finishing up here. So many units out, though. The Zerglings are at 1-1, but so are the Marines. Oh, the SCVs!
Ah, he kills some of them and not too many, though. But still, he's in a position where he can just take on the army of his opponent.
Yeah.
We still have the...
Oh, beautiful position
my
by
God.
Supernova, and...
That was really bad by Lucky.
Yeah, big misstep by Lucky. He didn't destroy the rocks beforehand, so he couldn't get out. And I love the siege tank positioning and bunker positioning by Supernova. It was great.
I actually thought he was trying to trap his opponent. I actually thought he was trying to lure the Marines out and then just make sure that they could not retreat with the Zerglings and then move in with the Banelings, but he just tried to get back with his army, and suddenly all those Banelings run straight into the Marine line, or at least they try to, but they are all taken down, so a bit of a problem here.
Spore Crawler, actually, if he had just gone forward, he might have been able to land somebody. He's not. Queen's getting taken out in the middle. A bit Lucky's play just being very sloppy here, and Antigua Shipyard is a map where sloppy play is not forgiven. He has to be so careful now with how many units he's lost. Hatcheries canceled, and this is exactly what you were talking about with the Banshees, with the drops. Without Mutalisk play out on the map, you can just use these drops over and over and over again to deny bases. Your opponent has to have creep where his base is, or he will not be able to defend it.
At this point, Lucky with a few missteps in his unit control. So far, he played really, really well. He has to make sure that that his nerves don't get the better of him, because up to this point, as you mentioned earlier, his play is he's looking so great, but the last few minutes showed a little bit of a weakness in his unit control. And once again, the Banshee, exactly what we said.
We can just talk about this forever, man. That Banshee will not allow this hatchery. He's also cleaned up Zerglings there. The one thing that Lucky is holding on to for dear life right now is control of the center watchtower. He has that right now, and if he can hold on to that, he may be able to make Broodlords work. He may be able to, mix them with the Infestors. Right now, already his Spire is finishing up here. More Banelings being taken out by this Banshee.
He should just get like 2 Mutalisks just to get rid of the Banshees.
Yeah, that actually would be a pretty... that might be a sound investment, at least one. But Ultralisk Cavern is on the way.
Indeed it is, and the Baneling upgrade as well as +3 attack with a little bit of a drop play going on here.
Yeah, this drop is being fairly effective, but with how much stem he used, he's gonna...
high.
Yeah, and even the Spore doing some damage to that drop now. A little bit of indecisiveness there from Supernova, but he's going to try to take the center. This is so important. If he takes this, the leverage goes in his favor. So many Infestors at the top of this ramp, though, and with control of the Watchers, it's going to be hard for the tanks to move in.
He needs to be very careful, and now he's doing exactly what we talked about earlier. He's attacking from every angle possible, trying to flank his opponent, taking down the siege check, and once again using his fungal. Look at the army of Supernova at this point, just so low on hit points, and Lucky, he's not overcommitting to this attack. It's beautiful. He just retreats again and waits until the rest of his reinforcements arrive before using the second wave to attack. Beautiful. And now the Fungals hit home once more. The Link's in a little bit of a bad position. He needs to be careful here.
Oh, beautiful pullback by Supernova. Great control, anticipating the Fungals getting out of there early on. But Lucky is not done yet necessarily, but I think Supernova definitely got the better end of this trade.
Yeah, he killed so many Infestors.
4 Ultralisks are on the way. Chitinous Plating and +3 weapons with +3 Carapace are on the way. And this game is still looking fairly even, as Supernova has not been able to secure that 4th. He's floating it over right now, but all it's going to take is a tumor or 2 more before you can actually deny that. And with the amount of Infestors he still has at the top of the ramp, it's only 2 of them now, and Supernova can actually take control of this fairly easily. If he takes control of the top of that, I mean, it's almost checkmate for a map like this. He's already got Viking production and prepared for potential Broodlords, but with the choice, like you said earlier, it just seems to be the better one on this map is Ultralisk.
And let's not forget about the creep spread of Lucky. It's great, so his Ultralisk will get a bit of a speed advantage as well. But Supernova is playing this quite well. As you pointed out, the last engagement ended in his favor because he took down the Infestors. So I feel that look at his upgrades. He's going to +3/+3. His upgrade play in this game was beautiful. He already gets the +1 attack upgrade for his Viking, just in case he will be ready. And he's switching to a more Marauder-heavy style now. So really good game by Supernova as well.
Catch-all composition,
He had
really nice.
Few mistakes in his unit control, but now he's just making sure that he has a very good defensive position with all those bunkers that he's building. But Lucky is going in once again. The planetary is ready though.
The Ultras were blocking a lot of those units. Now there's only Ultralisk left, and against this bio composition, they're not going to last very long. Although he does tear through a lot of the units, he has to retreat. There's too much. There's a planetary there, as you said, and more bunkers are being made here. Things looking really bad for Lucky because he's not able to stop him from controlling the center. Supernova, all he has to do now is remax again and then take control of the center. They'll be able to stop the mining at the middle. And because his opponent doesn't have any real air play out, he doesn't have any mutas or corruptors really floating around the map, he can control external bases from Lucky. Lucky can't really take hidden bases. In fact, you can see on the minimap, there are a ton of Terran units out there. Here he goes, going in again. His units are at 3-3. He's trying to run past the bunkers. He's actually doing something really crazy here, but I like it. He's actually going to catch reinforcements and go into the third base rather than the fourth. A good idea, but I don't know how well this is actually going to play out. He's trading armies a lot better than he would have by attacking the planetary.
Oh, but he needs to pay more attention to his Ultralisk. He doesn't. He attacks into the planetary with 2 Ultralisks. Oh my god, Lucky. He had such a crazy good unit control in the early game, but this kind of broke his neck.
Yeah, man, that was really bad. I mean, he had a good idea, but he pulled into the planetary anyways.
Just look at him in the body. He's talking to himself. He's like, oh my god, what did I just do?
Well, he's still going to catch these units, but he can't move too far forward. I really feel like that was like a Star Wars Return of the Jedi moment, man, where he was like, I'll last longer than I will against that planetary if I attack the third base, but then he like went into the planetary anyways. Oh man, and he's still trading fairly well here though. He just needs to get another base up because if he continues to lose units here, his opponent just has too much economy for him to throw units away time and time again like this. The Zergling count is even starting to become low. He only has 43 left. 43 is a lot in some cases, but in this case it's not enough. Look at that.
Wow. This is really bad for him now. Oh my god, Lucky is in a tough spot in Supernova. I have to give him credit. This guy is playing so well. I love the decision to get all these bunkers, not only because of the fact that they are obviously saving Marines and Marauders, but at the same time they are blocking the Ultralisks. And, well, Lucky is getting ready once again. The high ground still in control of Lucky.
Yeah, this is his, though without another external base because his opponent's blocking him. Everywhere he's got Marines, medevacs all over the map. He can't take another base. If this attack fails, if Supernova holds this attack, the game will basically be over because he cannot remax. Supernova will continue to make units, and he can take additional bases, whereas Lucky cannot. He's even starting to take out the Banelings. Time is running out for Lucky here.
Finally getting control of the Banshee. He needs another funnel though.
Oh wow, he wastes a lot of energy. And an Ultra gets baited in. Cannot afford to lose in the Ultras right now. Here comes the attack. This is the last attempt for Lucky.
Indeed it is. The Banelings rolling in right now from behind. Once again the funnels by the Infestors, and here come the Ultralists trying to do the damage. We have more and more funnels coming down by Lucky. He's killing a lot of stuff here. He's taking down Supernova's units as they stand. Nice micro by Supernova, the Terran player for oGs-TL, taking down another Ultralist, but he's hard pressed by his opponent. And Lucky is doing an awesome amount of damage, reinforcing his army with additional Zerglings, and Ultralist still at 160 supply.
That one Banshee, oh my god. He needs to take out the planetary, but he doesn't have enough units left anymore. But because he's pushed it back, he may be able to fungal from the high ground if he can push this Banshee back.
At the same time, we had another Banshee at the bottom right, taking down an expansion attempt by Lucky.
Yeah, he has so many units. He's got drops, Marines, Banshees everywhere on the map. Lucky cannot take another base without any air control. He can't run his entire Zergling force over there to take another base. Oh my god, he's scanning to kill Infestors with the Banshee! That Banshee has 19 kills, he's even going for drones now!
These Banshees are insane. As I said earlier, I would have loved the decision to just build a few...
But this is looking really good for him right now, although he just doesn't have enough! GG! He attacked into this one too many times, and even that last composition there, you could see where it was like almost enough, but not enough with those bunkers there. Something that Terrans are not doing enough of right now is making bunkers, similarly to how Protosses have recently been walling against Ultras as well. And man, Supernova looked strong in that game, but I feel Lucky choked and did not play his best. If he had played even a little bit better, I think he probably would have beaten Supernova in that game.
Let's give a little bit credit to Supernova here. Lucky played very well. He had a few problems in the mid game, you're right. So sometimes his unit control wasn't perfect. The decision making when he tried this run by and attacked the third was maybe not the best, but still he played a solid game, and Supernova just forced mistakes because he had all these defensive positions set up with the bunkers as well. He forced Lucky to... Lucky was kind of... I think he felt pressured. He felt like he had to pull off something. He had to do something in order to take this.
The thing he needed to pull off, in my opinion, is taking another base. he has control of the center. He has so many ultras out. His opponent's making Vikings when he doesn't even have Broodlords. All he needs to do is get some air units out, even a little bit, or send some Zerlings. He needs another base. He did not take another base, so he was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to stick with this many bases, and I'm just going to keep attacking him until he dies or I run out of money. And he ran out of money, and he needed to get another base, but he just never even tried. He tried at the end when it was too late. There was like a Banshee killing his drone, as you mentioned. It was like, I guess I can't take another base. And Supernova did a great job of fanning out his units. And I feel if Lucky had just been a little bit more patient, he made a lot of micro-control mistakes. Losing all his Banelings at that one point was like, that was a really tough spot for him to recover from. But if he had just taken another base, he might have been able to switch up his composition a little bit, might have been able to do something more. But instead, he just attacked into bunkers over and over again until he ran out of money.
And, well, we have the next player coming up for FXO.
It is going to be ASD.
And just before we talk about TVT, I just want to point out one thing. We talked earlier when the CVT started a bit about the problem that Pennant players face these days when there is a good Broodlord composition in the game. And as you mentioned, we saw Supernova going for Vikings, and he also got the +1 attack upgrade. He didn't get too many, 6 in total, but just these attack upgrades for his Viking, and I think he had 1, and at the same time the 6 Vikings, just enabled him, as soon as he would have spotted, he had double starport, as soon as he would have spotted that his opponent changed into a Broodlord composition, he could have just produced so many Vikings that he would have been able to best every corrupt account that Lucky would throw.
Yeah, he had double reactor starports, and he already had the Viking count +1, like you said.
He was ready.
He was ready. Broodlords were not going to be appropriate in any way.
But well, in the end, it didn't come to the Broodlord play. We had the Ultralist, the composition for Lucky, and it was not enough to take down Supernova. So we have ASD,
ASD,
formerly known as Nuclear.
He's gonna go for a TVT here. See if he can take out Supernova, and OGS looking better now that they've been able to take out Lucky, but they still have a long way to go. Now, consider also someone we didn't talk about. It's not necessarily going to be Hero for the last. Depending on who comes out, it could very well be Vines. Consider that when you consider how well Vines has done in Team League this year, I think they may choose to use Vines instead of Hero if Leenock or any other Zerg. Leenock, I think, is the only Zerg they will use. What's left on their roster. If Leenock is out, I think they'll use Hero. If they have to contend with someone like ASD, then I think they will use Vines. Only time will tell, though, because we're still in our TVT here. The map chosen by ASD is going to be Crossfire. And he has a very similar style to Gumiho, and for that reason, I like the choice of Crossfire for TVT. Plus, it means that later on, if he wants to use... Crossfire is just no longer going to be in the map pool. It's basically what I'm saying.
Supernova is pretty good turn versus turn.
Oh, absolutely, man. That's why I think this choice is kind of weird. He must have a specific build plan for Crossfire, and like I said, his style is very similar to Gumiho's. He can mech really well. We'll see how well he does it. On Crossfire, this is the GSTL with Kaldor and Wolf. OGS versus FXOpen. Don't go anywhere.